Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey with Teaching Online with Kelsey. So if this is your first time seeing me, please make sure it's not the last time by hitting that red subscription button and the bell down below so that you're notified of new videos on my channel every week. And to also give this video a thumbs up because it does support me and this channel. And as you may have guessed by the title of this video, I am going to explain to you how to teach online. It's one of the very frequently asked questions on my channel and on Instagram. And a lot of you may be looking into online teaching and thinking, how does it really work? What actually happens in an online classroom? How can I be successful in this?
This video today is brought to you by my YouTube memberships. This is where you can get one-on-one coaching sessions with me, along with lesson plans, copyright free, that you can get from me. You will see here how to sign up for those memberships down below. I would love to work with you soon.
And one thing that I do want to share is that all of my freebies, including my online teacher success checklist, is going to be down below in the description box. So then when you are ready to teach online, you have that checklist ready to go and be successful within 6 months. I definitely recommend downloading that. And I also recommend taking my 5-star online teacher course that helps you get started in what type of niche you want to teach in and the types of classes that you want to teach as well. So I highly encourage you to do that. But let's say for this instance, you have the checklist, you took my 5-star online teacher course, you are ready to teach online, but you don't really feel ready to teach online because in your mind you are thinking, I really wish I could just step inside these online classes and just see how these teachers actually teach online. And I'm going to set the record straight for you. I'm gonna go ahead and just get this out for you already. Unfortunately, no online teacher or even brick and mortar teacher that may be doing hybrid online teaching and in-person teaching classrooms, they are never going to screen record what happens in online meetings with children. That is not going to happen. And I'm just going to quickly explain why, the 2 big reasons why you will never see that on YouTube. And if you do, you should report it, because here's the thing. Number one, whether online, brick and mortar, you are a teacher, safety and privacy of those learners are going to be the utmost importance for these online classes. They trust you in those classes into keeping a safe, welcoming learning environment. And so the last thing on their minds is that you are screen recording it and then sharing it with complete strangers around the world. We don't know the eyes and intentions of every single person that comes onto YouTube. So you don't want to give any learners or parents any reason why they shouldn't trust you in those sort of things. So that's why you will never see anything like that on YouTube. YouTube even has a very strict policy pertaining children being in videos. So another sub reason for that. But then the second thing is, if you are broadcasting your lesson on YouTube or anything like that, that's your intellectual property that anyone could see, claim that information, write it verbatim, and claim it as their own. They're stealing your work. We're going to call it as it is. They're stealing your work. And you don't want that to happen with the lessons that you have worked so hard on. So those are just some of the 2 big reasons why there's not going to be, any videos or any secret access of you, being able to be a fly on the wall for an online teacher's classroom. It's not going to happen. But what I can show you today is tips that I use, other online teachers use, to make sure that their online classes run successfully and that they continue to get 5 stars and they continue to get enrollments and that they can be successful in this business. So while you are finalizing the classes that you're wanting to teach on whatever online teaching platform that you're wanting to teach on, one of the things that you really, really want to make sure that you have, sufficient technology. And I'm not just talking about like laptops or computers or Wi-Fi. I'm talking about lighting. Do you have a ring light? Do you have nice natural light that comes through the window? Do you have technology in terms of, green screens, or are you using a natural background? You don't have to have this elaborate background. However, having a good teaching space and having the learners realize, this is your teaching space, this is where classes happen, that gives them a good idea and that sense of peace that, yeah, this is lesson time. Let's go, let's learn. It gets the learners expecting them to know, okay, this is class time, knowing that you are in your dedicated teaching space. The second thing would be to make sure that all your lessons, all your classes, and when you're going to teach those classes have an organized system in place. A lot of online teachers usually like to use, Google Calendar, or if you have another calendar format to making sure that, you're teaching these classes or that you're teaching this. You got that in terms of when you're going to be scheduling out your classes, but you also want an organizational system in terms of the lessons that you teach. Do you use certain props? Do you have a certain file on your computer where you know that if the internet is down or certain websites are down, did you download the slides on your computer so that you can just pull them up and screen share them? I could not tell you how many times there have been teachers who had created slides on Canva, and unfortunately Canva likes to go down for maintenance every now and then teachers don't have slides for those classes. And it's just because they didn't have a backup plan. So do you have an organization system where you have your slides that you want to teach for your classes, or the apps or the interactive activities that you're going to use, and you have that plan in place to help you be successful when the class is happening? Do you have that? If not, make sure you do have that system in place. The third thing would be to communicate with families, including the learners if it's age appropriate. When you're able to establish your clear communication with families before class, and if something happens during class, and even a thank you note at least after the class, or if it's anything like semester or ongoing, that communication channels are still open to families with questions, and if parents have suggestions, that you are open to those suggestions as well. The fourth thing, which kind of goes back into the slides, do you have visuals? Do you have interactive activities to make the class more interesting? Do you have visuals? Do you have reference points that learners can see in the lesson? Are you able to screen share that with them? Do you have video clips? Most of the time, your learners are going to really greatly benefit from having a visual point in terms of the lesson, because instead of just using your words and talking about it, you can only go so far. And finally, creating those interactive lessons. Now, if you are an all-school teacher, you have an added bonus of getting access to Power Course, where you are able to create your lesson slides with Power Course and be able to actually incorporate the interactive activities, which would include like interactive multiple choice for your learners to engage in. You could do memory cards, you could do fill in the blank. The choice, there's a lot of choices on Power Course that you can use in your lessons. And even if you're not teaching on the ALLSCHOOL platform, there are other interactive activities like Nearpod, Peer Deck, Kahoot. The list is endless in terms of interactive activities that learners can help engage in the lesson, and to make the online class more fun and have learners begging for more. So now that we have established what should be happening before your class starts, now we're going to really dig into what does it actually look like to have a successful class while the class is actually happening. The very first thing you should do with your learners, it does not matter if they are 3 years old or if they are 18 years old or even if they are adults. You want to make sure you make clear expectations of what's going to happen in the class. This also includes, classroom management. Do you want the learners muted? Do you want them to use the raise the hand function if they have a question, or do you want them to physically raise their hand in the classroom? Do you have these rules, or do you want them to have a printable before they come to class, or have it ready to go, or have something pulled up so that they can follow along during the lesson? Giving those learners those expectations is going to make for a better experience for everyone. The second thing, and this is super, super crucial, especially to online teachers, because this is the only way that we can use to connect with our learners that are on the other side of the screen, is to get to know your learners better. Even if it's as simple as, what is your favorite color? Or do you have any pets? Giving them a chance to introduce themselves and share a little bit about themselves is what's going to help them feel more comfortable in the classroom, and to realize that, hey, I feel safe with this teacher. It's okay if I share this bit of information with them. You want your classroom to be a safe space for these kids, and you want them to be able to realize that they're here to learn, they're excited to see you, and allowing them to talk about themselves, because who doesn't like to talk about themselves? Again, it opens up more about them to you, and which means in the end that you'll be able to benefit your learners better, because you'll be able to figure out their learning styles. What is it they're actually needing in terms of the subject that you're teaching? Plus, if we're being honest, a lot of times connecting with those learners is what's going to get them to keep taking your classes and to keep signing up for your classes as well, because you as the teacher are invested in those learners. You care about them and you care about how they are successful in the classroom. That goes a long way for parents. Number 3, stay engaged. Now, yes, during the lesson, you should do some games. You should try to do a brain activity. You should try to take a moment to breathe if you need to, or do something fun, or do a video, keeping the lesson engaged itself. However, if you are doing a semester class or an ongoing class or a camp, staying engaged with learners is also important, because you care about those kids, not just when it's class time, but if there's something that is happening in between classes, that you're invested in what's happening there and you're invested in their questions. Number 4, in terms of using interactive activities, don't just stick with one interactive activity. Try to use a variety of interactive activities. If you have fill in the blank, you can do that. If you have a guided reading, add that a part of it. If you have a clip, or if you have, multiple choice, whatever that may be, you have a lot of resources that you can use in your online classes, and you can mix and match to make sure that learners are not just bored with the same Kahoot quiz or the same YouTube video or using the same Nearpod slides as before. Knowing that they can see that different variety of multiple choice or memory or fill in the blank is going to make the lesson more engaging and more exciting for those learners. Number 5, last but not least, if it's appropriate for the learners that you are teaching, emphasize collaboration. There may be a time in the class or in between classes where learners may need to discuss with one another. There are Google Hangouts. There are also meetings that they can collab with. There are discussion boards and apps they can use to collaborate with the discussion, including Google Classroom. Those learners, if appropriate, they can collaborate and discuss with one another, certain lesson topics, or be able to make sure that they're understanding what's happening in the lesson when they are meeting with you. This also encourages learners to interact with other learners in the classroom and not just the teacher. a lot of times their true colors show when they are able to talk amongst their peers and not just always talk with the teacher. And obviously, as the teacher, you would still need to moderate these conversations. This is another way that you stay engaged with the collaboration aspect of it, but just being able to see how each learner works with each other is also a great way in learning, what can you do next for lessons or for the next semester class with a whole new student. So those are my top tips in terms of having a successful online class. And whether it's brick and mortar or online teaching, I sincerely hope that these tips are beneficial to you and to helping you feel more confident and successful in teaching classes online and realizing that, there is a lot of stuff happening here, but if I want to be successful at this, I have to put these tips into consideration. So let me know what you think about the tips. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to have a healthy discussion with you about what you feel like would help you run a successful online classroom, if you agree or disagree with what I have to share on here. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.